Hey guys, real quick, before this video uploads, I want to mention, I did not mention this in my video. Uh, During this field up, we were in a patrol base. I'm going to let you know, I was being a little bitch. I didn't wake up for 2 shifts. I even told a soldier it's not my turn when it was my turn. I don't know what my attitude was. I don't know what was going on in my head, but I woke up when Dahlberg woke me up and went, holy shit, what am I doing? Being a shitbag here. So I was pulling security, and platoon sergeant came up to me. He's like, what the fuck? Told him what happened. No excuse on my part. Corrective action he gave me was wake up every hour on the hour and check everybody. And I did that. So this was also a bad impression that he had. However, there were instances where he was wrong too, but his side matters, and I didn't mention this in the video, and I thought it'd be very important to throw this in there. Here's the video. Enjoy.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Cobra One. It's been a long time since I've made a video. Got some new studio assets. I hope the lighting's good. I got myself this nice little influencer light. About time. I've been wanting to make this video for a long time. So today we're going to be talking about the worst platoon sergeant I ever had in the Army. Alright, so this video is going to be about former, now first sergeant, Sergeant First Class Bruce Anthony. So, you watched my video on the worst first sergeant I ever had. He sends me off to the office and I meet Anthony. I walk in the office and I notice the way he's set up. The kind of area, right? Squad leaders were on this wall, and he was in the back. And I walk in, and this is him. Trying to look mean, trying to look tough, flashing his fucking arms. So what he's doing here, he was a member of the 75th Ranger Regiment, and he was flashing his 175 patch and his Ranger tab. And that threw me off, right? I come in, stand at parade rest, and I'm standing there thinking, man, this guy's really trying to look hard, isn't he? I tried not to show that thought with my facial expressions as best I could. And he was just looking very mean, like, asking me, like, so, what do you want? I'm like, can I be a team leader? Then he says that I'm going to be the DMR for the platoon. I said, oh, okay. M110? I said, yep. I went, all right, I'm going to put you in weapons squad. I said, really? And I'm going to make you an assistant gunner to a Carl Gustav. And I thought, fuck yeah. Weapons squad's the best. And on top of that, it was a 2-man gun team. So as a sergeant, I had 1 soldier I was accountable for. It was fucking lit, I'm thinking. Yeah, awesome. And I really enjoyed being in Red Devils in BCO 3rd Platoon when I first got there. I was still really mad about what happened at Campbell, my Article 15 situation there, and I was like, whatever. Things are going good. At least for that moment. I would have moments where I would go back and be like, man, what the fuck? I lost my leave. Fuck Colonel Gray. And then I would be like, oh, this is awesome. So it was mixed, but it seemed pretty good. Go to the DMR range with my M110. With scouts to qualify, but we didn't qualify. We just went to a 240 range and just shot the gun, confirmed zeros in our LPVOs. They taught us fundamentals of long-range marksmanship, and for the first time I hit an 800-meter target. Very difficult. I think I hit it. Let's say if I fired 8 shots, I hit maybe 2 out of the 3. 500 and in was cake. 600 and that, 600, 700, kind of difficult. 800 was hard as fuck. I come back from the range, clean my weapon, turn it in, go to the office, and Anthony's like, "Did you shoot expert?" I mean, we didn't really have a qual, we just shot targets. I told him, but I did shoot out to 800 meters with it. Now I'm also going to talk about some things I did wrong. I wasn't dealing with what happened to me at Campbell very well. I wasn't doing the right things. And I knew I needed to go back to behavioral health. But when you go to behavioral health, this is my mind back then. They judge you, they think you're weak, and they don't want to work with you. I didn't know that there was a private going to behavioral health already, but I'm gonna confirm that Anthony's the type to think that if you go to behavioral health, you're weak and you don't belong there. He just knows with the way behavioral health is. If you target a soldier for going to behavioral health, even back in 24, you were not okay. You would get in a lot of trouble. So he kept opinions to himself, at least to the right crowd. I asked to see if I could take 30 days of leave, and he told me that Commander Captain England said it was probably going to have to wait till after JRTC after all this. So I had 12 days of leave out of the 60 that I was supposed to have, and I spent most of that moving my shit from Fort Campbell back to Fort Bragg. You know, I got a pass for Christmas because I had to report December 20th, and it was just back and forth. And I don't know, I shouldn't have vented the way I did. I was like, man, this bullshit. I told him I'm Article 15. But then this is where I liked Anthony. He told me about a bullshit situation that happened to him, so Anthony got kicked out of Ranger Regiment for negligently discharging the 240. He was about to be a team leader. He was tabbed. He had a team he was going to take, and then they said, oh, fuck you. And they booted him to the airborne community, and he went to the 173rd in Italy. He goes there, has a real bad drinking problem. He got to Ranger Bat about 2012, was there till 2015 when he got booted to Italy. I know Ranger Bat, specifically First 7.5, did some heinous things in that time frame, and I know Anthony was part of that, so him having a drinking problem did not surprise me. Anthony becomes a staff sergeant. He was a team leader, squad, or staff sergeant. Goes to RASP 2. So RASP 1, E1 to E5, RASP 2, E6, all the way up to your officer ranks. Gets selected. He returns back to his unit. He's about to leave. He's on the staff duty. He's on some sort of shift. It's either floor guard, staff duty, some CQ shift. Probably drinking, celebrating. Somebody, quote, snitches on him, as Anthony says, and he gets a Article 15. And once you get an Article 15, Ranger Bat doesn't want you. You gotta wait 2 years. And for those you don't know, any Article 15 you get, it's wiped clean off your record after 2 years. I also wanted to go to the 75th Ranger Regiment, and that was my plan. And everything just kept rolling downhill because of Colonel Gray. I find out I have to wait 2 years, and I was an E5. So that means I would have to promote to E6. And I halted myself from E5 to E6 because if I was going to go to BAT, I wanted to go as an E5 because unless you already served there as an E5 or below, you going to be infantry probably wasn't happening. Because Ranger Bat's just a normal, it's not a normal infantry brigade. It's an elite unit. It's a tier 2 unit. Alright? But it's set up like an infantry brigade. You've got 11 Bravos, 11 Charlies. You've got 12 Bravos. You've got supply. They're all Ranger Regiment, but just like in a normal infantry unit, are you kicking in doors and shooting people? What MOS is doing that? Is that going to be supply, or is that going to be your 11 Bravos? It's the same thing in Ranger Regiment. They're still elite. They still have that elite title. They had that history. But that's essentially how it's set up. And if you're an E6 or above and you've never served in BAT and you go to RASP 2, even if you're tabbed, you're not going to be an 11 Bravo. At least that's what I know. Any Rangers down below, please correct me. The last thing I want is to spread false information about your elite unit. So he seemed cool. I also noticed his moods, and I was warned about his moods. 1 minute he's cool, he's intelligent, he's easygoing. Next minute he's sporadic. I remember in my podcast with WTF Moments, I said he may have borderline personality disorder. Being someone who has complex PTSD, I'm gonna tell you I think he has PTSD. It's obvious he has PTSD with the combat that he's been in. So I gave him a bad impression with the fucking venting to him. We go to the field, doing all right. And then the incident happens. So we're in the field. First of all, this is going to be key later on. When we're patrolling in the field under nods, Anthony's got his chin strap unbuckled, his hands in his pockets. While we're patrolling, I saw it and other NCOs saw it. Other attachment NCOs that were with Weapon Squad at that time. And I'm thinking, what the fuck is going on here? Anthony had a pretentious attitude. He believed he could do things like that because the unit didn't matter to him. Here's the reality behind that. If you served in the Ranger Regiment and you got sent to the regular army, I don't give a fuck if you went there to do your conventional time. I don't give a fuck if you got kicked and booted there. If you go to the conventional army, you still hold yourself to a standard and you still train like you give a fuck because people are watching you. Privates saw that, maybe they'll think that they could do that too. Luckily, we had a very solid platoon. Probably one of the best platoons I was ever part of was 3rd Platoon B Code 1504. So no one was really doing that. But everybody kind of got Anthony and his mentality at that time. So we're in the field. I didn't pack OCPs, and here's why. It's January in Fort Bragg. I know how it is. That was my first duty station, and I didn't want to freeze. But I was smart enough to pack a tan t-shirt to make sure, because I wasn't rucking. I wanted to make sure that I had as light a ruck as possible and that I could keep up in the field. However, the reality hit me when I was out there. Even though I had a heavier gun, Weapon Squad is the slowest moving squad because you carry the heavy shit. I was able to keep up just fine, and I went, okay, this is kind of silly of me. What am I doing? However, I still didn't hit me that I needed my OCPs because it was fucking winter out. So I'm thinking maybe I could have packed a heavier ruck and been fine. But remember this: pack light, freeze at night. If I had to suffer by freezing a little, I would have. I just didn't want to. So we do the little field op, and then we go straight into live fires. We go into live fires, and forgive me if I'm jumping around. It got a little warm, and they said put OCPs on. And I went, oh, I don't have OCPs. So we got to a point where we had time to change, and I was like, all right, gotta go. Went to my squad leader. I said, hey, squad leader, I got OCPs. Listen, I know this might be bad. I know how the echoics work. I'm gonna take my silks off and wear nothing underneath except a tan t-shirt. I have a tan t-shirt. So he said, okay. Ran the lane, and I remember it getting warm. Anybody who trains in echoics knows it's gonna get warm. It's designed to keep you warm in frigid temperatures, but when you're doing movements like bounding, you're gonna get warm and you gotta get used to it. And as someone who's used to frying in southern climate, frying was nothing new to me. So during this field up, I was red. Got to the berm, I was throwing up, and threw up a lot, which was mostly water. I was also trying to lose weight. I got in a little tubby because of my situation at Fort Campbell. Wasn't doing the right thing, wasn't PTing, so I decided to eat 1 MRE a day. Wasn't stupid. You can't not eat, all right? Because part of heat catting, if you don't have nutrients, that can also lead to a heat injury. So I ate 1 MRE a day, but I ate the whole thing, everything. And an MRE has all the nutrients you should need in the field, but I made sure to drink plenty of water. I sprint up this hill, was throwing up. Our medic, by the way, this medic was a fucking bitch. I hated this dude with a passion. He kept talking to me the way you don't talk to an NCO. Being disrespectful, ran to leadership, and I'm pretty sure this dude even ran to the first sergeant CO as a PFC, which you don't do. Saying that I'm heat catting because I'm wearing my winter gear. So Anthony pulls me aside and goes, "You're a fucking liability." Just fucking tell me I'm a liability if you think so. Tell me, don't try to act hard. If you're in the military, I'm going to tell you this right now. Don't try to act hard. People who are hard don't act hard. I grew up with leadership who served in the 09 surge. I grew up with leadership who were part of the 03 invasion in Iraq. Like, these dudes spent the first contract of their career killing people. I even had a platoon sergeant who was part of the '03 invasion and Restrepo. I know what a bad motherfucker is, and Anthony wasn't it. I could tell. Alright, I had been in long enough to realize that. So he was always acting hard, trying to act like a hard ass. Especially when there was a crowd around. When there wasn't a crowd around, he wouldn't act like that. He would act like a normal dude. So they tell me that you're heat catting, go to the fucking medics. I go to the medics, I say, hey, they said I'm heat catting. They took one look at me and said, you're not heat catting. Didn't even bother to take my temperature. So leadership, primarily fuckboy MCO, fucking dumb bitch Captain England and Anthony are like, oh my god, what a shitbag, this guy's heat catting. So they put me as a permanent ammo guard. And I'm sitting at this permanent ammo guard position. And at this time, I had been hearing things about the CO that I didn't like. Like, I don't know. She was in Italy with the 173rd. And she was in the field and she let her entire platoon of squad leaders, all the squad leaders in her platoon, run a train on her. Soldiers in the BCO 1504 were telling me, one instance, they were on a land nav site, and she stated, so what do you guys do in the weekends? And then they tell them what they do in the weekends. And then she proceeds to say, I don't do anything on the weekend, and it's always a party at my place, or something like that. I began to pick up that the company didn't really respect England. We also, prior to this field op, we did a live fire. We did some squad live fires. They had me standing as a Joe, maybe even as a standing team leader. Actually, I'm not going to get into that. I'm actually going to make a video about her. This is about Anthony. Don't want to waste any time. I was hearing stuff about her, and then a soldier told me something about her that wasn't true. And like a dumbass NCO, and I deserve to pay for this. I was running my mouth about her to junior enlisted. You know, I was frustrated with the whole thing. That fucking shitbag medic. Fuck that dude. Everything, and I was just being not so good. And then I finally cracked. I think I had a moment where a lot of moments in my life, from my childhood to some shit I saw in Iraq to my Article 15 situation, I just cracked, and I said, I hate my mother. I would shoot her. I am not threatening that woman. I wasn't threatening her then. I said I wanted to do it, and I shocked myself. I said it in front of a private, so I was talking shit about England. Said that, word started circulating. Next thing I know, people are saying I threatened the CO, and all this didn't happen. They pull me back, have the whole debacle, and we're back. Sorry, my camera overheated. So the whole debacle happened. I was like, what the fuck? Went back to the barracks. I was like, Jesus Christ. I was drinking. I started drinking some alcohol I had there. Weekend passes. I think however long it was. Anthony comes back from the field, says, you're to go to the office. So I go to the office. Counsels me, flags me for adverse action, and then says, you're being recommended for UCMJ actions for calling the commander a bitch and saying you shoot your mother. I went, oh. They were very adamant that I threatened her life, but then Anthony said, no, that's not what happened. You said you'd shoot your mom and called the commander a bitch. Then he said, listen, man, when I got here, I didn't say shit for 3 months. Basically give me like a know your audience type of thing. I thought I knew the audience, but he's right. I should have waited more. Apparently BCO loves to snitch on people. Like, why is the platoon medic, a private, running to the commander and first sergeant? You handle things at the lowest possible level. Then you escalate as necessary. Like when I was a private and I was getting hazed and literally punched and assaulted at work and off work, I handled it with the individuals, and then I took it to leadership, meaning no one above my squad leader. I don't know why people did it like that in Red Devils. Maybe not Red Devils, but in Blackheart Company, but that's just what happened. He then proceeds to tell me, you want to know what I told the commander? Oh, what do you recommend? And I said, it's up to you. I was just sitting there thinking, okay, dude, whatever. I know the situation's getting bad. I fully know I'm getting demoted and I'm putting on extra duty. I don't fucking care. This whole acting hard thing, if you really are this bad motherfucker, you don't need to act hard. Then he starts playing games with me. Go to behavioral health and they immediately put me on a profile. Didn't listen to me. He starts playing games with me, having the NCOs call me, go here, go there. So I'm ripping my phone out of my pocket every 5 minutes to answer a phone call or a text message. Where am I? What am I doing? Always. 1 minute, they'd send me to go to the wash rack to wash our vehicles for JRTC. I'm running that. And they said, hey, get back to the company. And I'm like, you have me as an NCOIC running this thing, and now you want me back in the fucking company? So I go back there. And at this time, I tried to apologize to the CO, and it was hard for me to talk. So he said, hey! I'm like, what? You're digging yourself a hole. Come on, man. And 1 minute, he seemed like he's saying, come on, you're digging yourself a hole. Like, I'm trying to help you here. What he's saying is so intense. He's shaking. He's fucking calling me to go to this location, go to this location. And I'm like, 1 minute, he's in his manic state doing this crazy shit. Then he's chill. Then he's violent. It was all over the place. And as a squad leader in the platoon told me, watch out for Anthony when he gets in his moods. Boy, was he right about Anthony. He sits down, and I had already read regulations, so he explained to me if I get demoted to E5, I was coming up to my 7th year in the Army. I was going to get a bar to re-enlistment for our retention control point. I knew that. But I called the guard and found out I could join the guard. And I know if you get kicked out and you go to the Guard of Reserves, you can sneak your way back to active duty. Because my buddy at Campbell got chaptered out, went to the reserves, and then got back into the same division he got kicked out of. Now he's a recruiter, now he's an E6. So I knew that. So I started digging regulations. So he did the same thing for me, and I'm like, wow, this dude cares about me. And then all of a sudden, I got a text message. I'm in this state where they're running me all over the place, having NCOs, Anthony's having NCOs go, where is he, what's he doing? So I'm not really at parade rest, we're kind of just talking. I pull my phone out, and I go, oh wait, I'm right here, what am I doing? Text message was from my attorney. I'm thinking it's from my leadership that's right in front of me, because of all this running around they had me doing. And I go, oh, hey, my bad. And I tried to explain, I'm sorry, I'm just not doing good, you know? Maybe don't care because I put myself in this situation to get UCMJ'd. He loses it. And then he chases me out of the building, tells me to get out. So I get out of the office, and I'm standing next to the office door, right? Tells me, alright, fine, I'm trying to fucking help you. And then I'm like, hey, my bad. And he goes, ugh. And then he throws me out of the office. So I'm standing next to the office door. He says, get out. I just stuck, get out of the office. So I'm standing like, fuck, he is trying to help me. What am I doing here? And I tried to explain to him, hey, you know, you did have me run around the place. Make sure I answer my phone every 2 seconds. And if I didn't, I knew how you would be. Then he comes out of the office, goes, get out of the building, get out. Then he starts chasing me out of the building, giving me a time act to leave the building. And at this time, they thought I had a drinking problem. So I told him, all right, I'm not going to drink anymore. But then Anthony, I still had alcohol in my room. I was in voluntary sub C for alcohol. Because Anthony told me, go or we'll make you go. I went, all right, I'll go. And then I stopped drinking. You could have breathalyzed me any point in time and I wouldn't have had alcohol in my system. And there's a member of that platoon that will verify me. I tried to get rid of my alcohol by giving it away. First of all, I buy booze, I'm not throwing it out. You don't tell me to throw something out that I buy. Alright, that's not happening. But I do understand the situation, so I tried to give it away. First I thought, go put it in the fridge down in the Soldier Community Center, but then I went, wait. If someone under 21 gets that booze and drinks it, I'm liable. So I'm thinking, whatever. But I didn't drink it because I didn't have a drinking problem. So with how he was, I knew Anthony would lose his shit and start digging for reasons to fuck with me. So I run back to my barracks room and I get a phone call. I'm dumping my alcohol. What are you doing in your room? I'm like, all right. I decided to be honest, I'm gonna get rid of my alcohol. He calls me back to the office, starts screaming at me. What the fuck? I told you to get rid of your booze. I said, no. First of all, he inspected my room. First, my room was dirty. I cleaned it. He liked it. Then he goes, hey man, you should get rid of this booze. Should is a magical word in the United States Army. Hey, you shouldn't go past 10 reps when you correctly train a soldier. That doesn't mean you have to. If you give a directive or order, you say you will, you must. You be clear. You say the word should, that is a recommendation. I was taught that as a private by a sergeant first class. That is in regulation. He said, I told you to. And then I said, no, you didn't. You said I should. And he looks at me as if saying with his eyes, the audacity. You cannot be legally held accountable if you say should. And I know this because he counseled me, and at my separation board, they tossed out his counseling because he said that I should. The fucking dumbass was so emotional, he had to be disproven by a major brigade legal who then chewed him out and tossed him out of the board, which I'll get into later, for being unprofessional. Because he wanted to be right. Because he needed validation like a fucking woman. Then he says, who were you on the phone with? And this is where I realized I went from, okay, I'm fucking up here. I'm at least trying to fix myself here. To realizing what a shitbag Anthony was and how toxic this entire company was. He asked me, who were you on the phone with? It was my attorney. What? What the fuck is the matter with you? Why are you talking to an attorney? Is it a private attorney? I'm like, yeah, it's a paid attorney. Why the fuck are you talking to an attorney when we sent you to TDS? And I'm like, what the fuck? You have a right as a soldier to consult your own attorney, TDS, or both. We had a soldier who got a DUI in the platoon and he was paying for his own attorney. No one was getting on him for that. It almost sounded like they were trying to fuck me over and kick me out already. And they wanted to make sure I didn't have the right legal resources. Because TDS doesn't help you. They help your leadership kick you out. He then goes, all right, fine. I'm going to counsel you. As if saying, how dare you seek legal advice? How dare you, as a form of retaliation. Like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? You're going to retaliate against me? Like, I should have went straight to IG and reported that. I should have taken that counseling to IG. Next day, he counsels me for the alcohol, and I said, Sergeant Anthony, you said I should have it. Yeah, I did. This is a chapterable offense. I'm like, having alcohol on voluntary sub C? Yeah, it's a chapterable offense. I said, no, it's not. It's in regulation. I'm going to disagree with the counseling. Then he goes, it's a chapterable offense. It's a chapterable offense. It's a chapterable offense. It's a chapterable offense. And I said, so I agreed with the counseling, but then I wrote a little rebuttal down at the bottom. When he wanted to be right, you, as a soldier, have general military authority. And E1 can tell a full-bird colonel he's wrong if he's wrong. And I began to realize more and more why Anthony wasn't in Ranger Bat and why he got rejected going back. And I realized, I need to get the fuck out of this company. I knew what would happen, which did happen. They were going to try to separate me. So I went to Sergeant Anthony and tried to see if I could move companies. He said, where do you want to go? And I want to go to Seco because my roommate was in Seco and they thought I was buddy-buddy with him. And they hated me for that because they hated him. And they wanted to ostracize him. So Anthony went, oh, that's not going to happen. But I'm telling you it's not going to happen. Then I said, I want to transfer companies. Well, but then I got to rate your NCOER and you won't be able to promote to E6. EO standard not upheld, which, not a thing. Not a thing at all. That's not going to prevent you from promoting to E6. That is literally the dumbest fucking thing ever. So, he was a fucking liar, and he was a fucking pussy. I had zero respect for this man at this point. I knew he was a liar, and I didn't give a shit about him anymore. He felt a certain way, so he would act upon his emotions like a fucking immature little girl. That is not a leader. That is a tool. Got my second article. He runs up to me. Hey, make sure you... And at this point, I got right in his face. Like, yeah, what's up, Sergeant Anthony? And he went, just make sure you have an E4 rank on. I said, I know that. Left, put my rank on, went to extra duty. Next day, they tried to have me go do an ammo detail. And I said, excuse me, hey, I'm on a behavioral health profile. Am I supposed to be around live ammo? Or just... He said, yeah, there's going to be live ammo. No, you can't be here. Hey, call your platoon sergeant. So I pull out my phone, and I call my platoon sergeant. He doesn't answer because Anthony thinks, how dare this worthless piece of shit call me, right? So he said, hey, man, just go back to your unit. So as I'm walking back to the company, I get a phone call from fuckboy Tanner Dahlberg, the biggest beta male in the United States Army. And he goes, why the fuck are you calling the platoon sergeant? I said, because I was told to. Why? Because I got removed from the fucking detail. So they pulled me in the office and said, so hey, and Tanner, oh, this little bitch. God forbid I see this motherfucker again. Goes, so you know you're on a profile for no weapons. Does that make sense? I said, no. If you know anything about regulations, Sergeant Dahlberg, if you're on a no weapons profile, that means no weapons and no munitions. So no live ammo and no grenades. So it also means that you can't be around live ammunition or grenades. I know this. So Anthony's mad. He's mad at me for this whole situation. Like, how dare I do what I'm supposed to? And MCO's little beta male ass as well. So they go to the medics and confirm that I am indeed correct. And I guess they're mad at me for being right. I don't know. When you got beta males like that, they just have to be right. And even if you're... And I'm back. Sorry, camera overheated. I stick it in the freezer, but we're back. But yeah, like I was saying, I guess beta males have to be right. And even if you prove them wrong, they got to go at you for proving them wrong. So I leave. I'm like, hey, what do you guys need me to do? I'm preparing for JRTC. I go to my barracks room to finish my packing list. Then I get a phone call. Get back to the company right now. Okay, fuck. Fine. Go back to the company. And Anthony initiates me for Chapter 14, C, Patterns of Misconduct. And I go, I was very upset, but I remember behavior health from Campbell taught me resilience. And I remembered the system. I went, there's going to be a way back. And I went, oh. So I'm getting an honorable, right? Because as an NCO who a former NCO who understood the chapter process, I didn't do drugs. I didn't do anything too heinous, so I knew I would at least get an honorable or at worst general. Anthony turns and goes, no, just from this misconduct that I counseled you for, you're getting an other than honorable. And in that moment, I didn't know other than honorable. I thought other than honorable was the same as dishonorable at that time. I didn't know. And I remember I sat there and I went, all right, it's time to die. So my first thought is I'm going to kill myself. And then had some ideation about Anthony. I wanted to beat the fuck out of him. I was tired of this little prick. So he gives me a little post note and says, I need these documents from you. I said, okay. I'm going to go to my barracks room and get them. Platoon leader goes, hey, Shoker, you want to go to JRTC? And I say, sir, I'm not thinking about that right now. So I go to my barracks room. And, I take this exact knife right here. My good old trusty K-bar was on my battle belt. Well, first I got my rucksack that was in my locker because I knew this was in it. I go to my barracks room, rip my top off, and I'm mad. Sitting in my bed with this K-bar. I then, let's see here, can you see it? I then take it and try to go down the street. Not actually gonna do it. Okay, calm down, everybody. Try to go down the street, and it wasn't working. Part of your arm's really fatty, and I split my arm open from here to here. And I go, fuck, this hurts. I'm looking at my arm as it's split open, it's not bleeding, and I'm like, maybe I should get help. Then I got mad. I went, fucking Anthony. And I never released this to anybody. I never told anybody this. I didn't say this on WTF Moments, but I'll say it right now. Alright, there's the good old scar. I took my arm like this, and I put the knife on it. And I imagined that my wrist was Anthony's throat. And I went to town on my wrist, and I split it open. When I split it open, my arm elongated, made a popping sound, and blood started shooting out. A straight river of blood. And I stood there and I went, alright. I dropped the knife because it freaked me out. I'm like, holy fuck. But then I went, time to finish the job. And as I reached with this hand to go pick the knife up, I'm looking at my hand and it's like this. And I'm moving my fingers, but my fingers aren't moving. I'm trying to close my hand. It's limp and it's dead meat. And I go, holy shit. Okay, I'll just bleed out. And as I'm standing there, I started getting dizzy. There's a lot of blood. And then I started, reality hit in, and I went, holy shit, I'm dying. And I tried calling 911, but AT&T's towers were down that day. So I ran out of my room because I knew 911 would work. I just needed to find a cell tower with clear signal. And I left my keys in my barracks room, and I realized, wait a minute, my IFAC's in there. I could, So for about 15, 20 minutes, I'm pacing the barracks hallways, bleeding out. Bleeding a lot. Finally, some soldiers show up. They save me, get a tourniquet on me, get some combat gauze on me, which stopped the bleeding altogether. Go to the hospital. Before I went, my leadership came near me, and I was like, keep them away from me. And I was tending to keep them away from me because I really wanted to do something very bad to Anthony. I really wanted to hurt Anthony really fucking bad. And I couldn't deal with it, so I said, keep him away from me. Anthony was fucking pale. Now, Anthony's Hispanic, but that man had white skin that day, let me tell you. And then Beta Male Dahlberg and his boyfriend came up as well. I'm in the hospital and I'm screaming, don't let them in this room, don't let them in this room. And they were kind of freaked out and said, you need to calm down and conduct yourself like a soldier. And then then the platoon medic comes in and I went, I'll vent to him. Still fucking hate this dude. And go to the hospital and find out that Anthony was really shooken up by what happened and was sitting in his room in the platoon office just staring at the wall. Probably because he knew that he was the reason that in that moment that I tried to unalive myself. Wasn't completely him. It was a lot of things that built up in my life that I just couldn't handle anymore. But what really got me was behavior health not helping me, violating my HIPAA rights, and listening to rumors from my company commander because they were friends with her, versus making it about the soldier. That is the biggest reason why I gave up and decided to end my life, because I knew behavior health didn't care about me. So I get out, tried to unalive myself again because of Janine Basali lying to me, lying to my face, telling me that this personality disorder diagnosis, which has not been changed to PTSD, is going to prevent me from my dream job outside the Army. So I try to unalive myself again. And I want to let you guys know, Captain England and Captain Janine Basali both enjoyed my suffering. They enjoyed it. And that was the biggest thing that really messed with me and drove me to my second attempt where I overdosed on 140 sleeping pills. I go back to the hospital. England continues to try to use behavior health to manipulate me. We go to my separation board, and at my board, my platoon sergeant, Anthony, starts talking. They go, what are some issues that you had with him? He's just acting like a private. Then he brings up the alcohol thing and starts going, I told him he should get rid of his alcohol, and I fucking warned you, Bruce. I warned you. Brigade Legal Major went, you told him you should, huh? So they threw his counseling out, and when the prosecutor kept asking questions, Anthony goes, he brings up my suicide attempt. Why should I be separated from the Army? Why am I a bad soldier? And he decides to bring up my suicide attempt because in his mind, he thought I was weak for attempting suicide, and starts mocking me and telling the story of how I slit my wrist. Had he been in that office, I'm not going to lie to you, I wouldn't have done it, but I probably would have had to restrain myself from attacking him. I was already restraining myself from screaming at him, which my attorney told me to. Thank you, Jamie. And Brigade Legal screamed at him and excused him from the board for being unprofessional. Anthony was a bottom of the barrel hire. They needed an E7 during the Biden administration, and they put him up. Dude's a fucking tool. Let me tell you something about him. When I was on extra duty, I ran into my old squad leader who went to Ranger Bat. He went to Bat, I went to Campbell. He was a team leader in Bat, got sent back to the 82nd, was an ACO. He was supposed to go to 3rd Platoon, BCO. Met Anthony, and Anthony did the same thing. And he fired back at Anthony and then said, all right, this dude's a fucking tool. Went back to S1 and said, I'm going to ACO. He goes to ACO, and Anthony throws a temper tantrum in the S1 office when he doesn't get what he wants. I wish I had that bravery and did what he did, because my squad leader taught me well. Funny, everyone had the same opinion of Anthony that I did. It's almost like he was a fucking problem. I go to, Dahlberg comes on and starts talking shit about me because he counseled me. And then during a live fire, I had a silly incident where under nods I loaded my magazine upside down. I go, oh fuck. Fixed it, got back in the fight. And I told Anthony after this live fire, sorry Anthony, you're not going to believe this. I loaded my mag upside down. Took me a second, but I figured it out. Like hey, that's what training's for, You fuck up, learn from it. Dahlberg brought this up. When asked, what are some issues with me? He went, during a training event, he loaded his magazine upside down, and I told him, I don't remember Dahlberg shouting at me that my mag's upside down. And I don't know how he could have seen me under nods. Like, was he right next to me, looking to see if my rounds were protruding out of my gun? Did he see it? I don't remember that. Anyone can correct me, but no one has, almost 2 years later. And I knew in that moment exactly what happened. Anthony took him in the office and told him, this is what you're going to say at the board. It was so obvious they all colluded together, because that's what Anthony does. He takes the easy way out. He lies to your face and manipulates you to get his way. Because why take the hard right when you can manipulate things? Because in Anthony's mind, the regular army was meaningless, and he could do things like that. He could be a shitbag. He could lie and weasel his way into positions because he's better than everyone from the 3 whole years he was in Ranger Bat. But if I'm not mistaken, they rejected that pussy not once but twice. So I get separated, and as I'm going through the process, I go to my PO, I say, Lieutenant Eisenhower, because he even visited me in the psych ward, and I told him about the incident with the answering my phone thing and how Anthony was telling him I was disrespecting him. And he began to believe my side and said, thank you, I don't see these things often. Because Anthony desperately tried to manipulate and control First Lieutenant Eisenhower, who, by the way, is a Ranger Bat now, because he's a good officer, much like his father. Anthony, I told the lieutenant, I said, sir, I think you should keep Anthony away from me. And I'll tell you why I want him to stay away from me. I wanted to beat the shit out of him. I wanted to beat the living shit out of him. I wanted to give him the worst ass whooping he ever had in his life. And I wanted to just get out of the army and move on. And I wasn't going to give that motherfucker any ammunition against me. So I told the PL, can you keep him away from me? And I guess he talked to him about it. And Anthony, I guess, got scared. So my last day extra duty, I was told to go to Green Ramp and link in with Anthony. I went, I go there, and there's a desk in Pack Shit 3, which is no longer there anymore, I guess, from what I heard. And I go, "What's up, Sergeant Anthony?" And I put my hands on the desk, and I look deep into his soul. I imagine jumping across that table, grabbing every heavy object that was there, and just beating the shit out of him with it. I imagined it, but chose not to act on it, because I wasn't giving him ammunition against me. And I sat there. And Anthony never acted hard when it was me and him, only when there was a crowd. He looked at me like this. "So, I need you to do this. I need you to do that." That's how he acted. We go to S3, had to close my jump log. We're dealing with that. They bring Anthony. Anthony takes my paperwork. I'm like, "Where'd you put my paperwork?" "It's in there." I'm like, "Why'd you put it in there?" He goes, then he starts screaming at me. I don't know what he said, but I tuned it out, because I think if I heard what he said, I probably would have attacked him. So I look at him. He then runs out of the fucking building. Had to make a huge scene, because there was a crowd in that S3 office in front of everybody. He leaves, and there was some shady shit going on with my chapter. I remember going up to Anthony. He just walked by the company CQ desk. It was just kind of me and him and some random soldier at CQ. But mainly just no crowd. Just me, him, and that random guy. I go, "Sergeant Anthony." I get nice and close to him. I go, "What's going on with my chapter? Why is it happening so fast?" And he goes, I've seen them happen fast. I've seen them happen in less than 2 weeks before." I go, So, he leaves. I get chaptered out. Go get my 214 and leave Fort Bragg. Bruce Anthony was the biggest tool I ever met. He was a coward, and he was a pathetic human being. I'm making this video because I've been keeping tabs on him, and I found out that he became a first sergeant after a year being in the S shops. And the NCO that told me about him said he was doing the same thing he was doing. He would find a guy like me, I guess a shitbag you want to say, and unfairly target that dude, not even give him a chance to get rehabilitated. Well, I contacted some people I know that weren't very happy about that. So whatever's going to happen beyond that, whatever. He's also apparently going off to Sergeant Major's Academy. This dude has weaseled his way into every position outside of being in Ranger Bat. He's a liar, he's a manipulator, and he's a fucking coward. He's a little girl. He needs a crowd to talk shit, but when it's me and him, or an individual, nothing. He was the worst platoon sergeant I ever had, and what's pathetic about him is he was from Ranger Bat. When I was in the 101st, I had dudes that weren't tabbed, that weren't even airborne qualified, that spent a lot of time in combat, and they were way harder and way more qualified to be a leader than he was. And he came from a special operations unit, and that is fucking pathetic. He did nothing but, and as my old squad leader said, "Oh, Anthony does nothing but talk about Ranger Bat." The dude wasn't even a leader in Ranger Bat. He was a teammate in Ranger Bat, my old squad leader. Anthony wasn't. The dude hated me because I wanted to get away from him, and he felt rejected. It took me a long time to really fully forgive this man. You know, when I would talk about him, go back to Toxic Leadership Part 4. Alright, it should be in this playlist on my YouTube channel. I couldn't talk about it without screaming. I wanted justice. But you know what? You're not always going to get it. Here's what's going to happen to him when he gets out. He's going to realize that this macho man thing, acting like an alpha male, doesn't work in the civilian world. His wife's going to see him every day versus part of the day. Maybe she won't like how he is, and maybe she'll leave him and take the kids. Then he's going to realize what a chump he is. Do this. And it'll be part of a 22 a day. Not insulting any veteran that's taken their lives. But I'm telling you guys right now, since I've been a civilian, I've also realized part of the veteran suicide rate is from people like Anthony who realize that they were fake. And now that there's reality coming to them that they're not tough, they're not this amazing dude, and that all their friends are not there anymore. Well, he's not going to be able to handle that. I wish him the best, but if he continues to do to soldiers what he did to me and to my roommate, like my roommate. Oh, I didn't even bring that up. Let me bring that up real quick. I reported that my roommate was being targeted. All his friends, because he transferred companies, all his friends from the 3rd Platoon were not allowed to talk to him. And I reported that because that's against the EO policy. That's a form of hazing. That's exclusion. You can't do that. Well, the company commander of SECO, which is where he went, called IG on my commander. And there was a formation held. Hey guys, there was a miscommunication, PL says. I don't think he knew what was going on. I'm not insulting Lieutenant Eisenhower. You guys can talk to Harl. We just recommend you stay away from him because of the trouble he may cause. And our platoon sergeant was like, yeah, you know, he does this and that. Make sure you stay away from him. Because he was mad that he got in trouble. And Anthony even sat me down and went, that wasn't good. That wasn't good. Like, oh, how dare I report you for being a fucking shitbag, because you're a fucking shitbag, Bruce. And now you decide to fuck me over and make an example out of me. That's it. That's his moral character, which doesn't exist. And with everything that happened to me, I started Cobra One. It's my YouTube channel. I don't just make military content, but I talk about it, and it's gotten easier. And I thank you guys for watching, for liking, for subscribing, for commenting. But I also want to educate you. There are so many things I could have done, right? There's so many things I could have done to prevent this. I could have stayed in the Army, but I gave up on myself because I never had leaders that were that bad. I didn't know how to handle it. That doesn't mean you have to go down my road. You don't have to do this. Alright? So, this is my way of trying to give you the tools to succeed. And I've gained quite a following, and I appreciate it. Now, what if I run into Bruce again? Am I going to go after him? No. I will not give him the pleasure of sending me to jail. I'll ask him, hey fuckhead, you want to have a fist fight? Have him sign a paper, we'll have a good old fist fight. Will he do that? I doubt it. I really, really doubt it. Otherwise, I'm just going to stay away from him and not think about him. Fuck him, you know? Don't let these people control you. Don't let them win. It's been hard to process it and accept it and talk about it, but I'm really glad I'm able to talk about it. That's all, guys. Sorry this video is long. It's going to be one of my long, unfiltered videos, so it'll be here for you to watch. Skip to any point you want. Like, subscribe. Thank you guys for everything.